Hello, my name is Lindsay Deming. I'm a senior at Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania, majoring in criminal justice. Today we'll be looking at a growing global issue, transnational crime. What is transnational crime? Transnational crime refers to illegal activities that involve more than one country in their planning, execution, or impact. According to the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, UNTOC, a crime is considered transnational if it meets any of the following criteria. 1. Multi-state activity. It is committed in more than one country. 2. Cross-border planning. If it is committed in one country but involves an organized criminal group that operates in multiple states. 3. Organized group involvement. It is committed in one country but involves an organized criminal group that operates in multiple states. 4. Substantial effect. It is committed in one country but has significant consequences in another. These offenses sprawl across multiple jurisdictions, often exploiting gaps in international law enforcement. Common types of transnational crime: illicit goods, illicit service, infiltration of business or government, cybercrimes, environmental crimes, and financial crimes. I want to discuss financial crimes because it has surpassed drug trafficking as the most pervasive criminal market globally as of 2025. And then we will look at different nations and the transnational crimes occurring within those countries. Transnational financial crimes are illegal activities involving the movement, concealment, or theft of money across international borders. The crime exploits global financial systems, different national regulations, and digital technologies to generate or hide illicit profits. In 2025, global illicit financial activity reached an estimate of 4.4 trillion, an increase of 1.3 trillion in just 2 years. Money laundering is the process of making dirty money from criminal activities like drug trafficking appear clean by filtering it through legitimate businesses or offshore accounts. Recent 2025 through 2026 data estimates the global cost of money laundering is 5.5 trillion. Transnational fraud and scams. Sophisticated investment frauds often run from international scam centers that use human trafficking victims to conduct the operations. Trade-based financial crime. Using legitimate international trade to move money by over-invoicing or under-invoicing. The economic impact of this is a significant global threat, costing an estimate of 1.6 trillion annually. Cyber-enabled financial crime. The use of AI, deepfakes, and cryptocurrencies to bypass traditional security. AI-enhanced fraud is modern fraud campaigns using agentic AI are reported to be 4.5 times more profitable than traditional methods. Tax evasion. Using shell companies and tax haven to hide access of international authorities. Next, we're going to look at transnational crimes that are dominant in the United States, Mexico, and Syria. Transnational crime in the United States. One of the most significant transnational crimes in the United States is drug trafficking. It involves smuggling illegal drugs like cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and fentanyl across borders. Major supply routes come from Latin America, especially through Mexico. Drug cartels operate internationally to contribute to addiction and overdose crises in the United States. Human trafficking is the illegal trade of people for forced labor or sexual exploitation. Victims can be both foreign nationals and U.S. citizens. The United States is considered both a destination and transit country for the victims. Cybercrimes are crimes conducted online across borders, including hacking, identity theft, and financial fraud. Cybercrimes are often carried out by international networks targeting U.S. individuals, businesses, or government systems. Money laundering is the process of hiding illegal profits by making them appear legitimate. Criminal organizations move through many global financial systems, including the United States banks and businesses. Arms trafficking is the illegal trade of weapons across borders. Weapons may be smuggled into or out of the United States. sometimes fueling violence in other countries. Some terrorist activities involve international planning, funding, or coordination. The United States works with global partners to prevent attacks and disrupt networks. Intellectual property theft is counterfeit goods and piracy. This can include fake designer items and illegal streaming. The items are often produced overseas and sold in the United States markets or online. Transnational crimes in Mexico. Drug trafficking is the most dominant transnational crime in Mexico. Powerful cartels such as Sinaloa Cartel and Jalisco New Generation Cartel control production and distribution. Drug trafficking includes drugs such as cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. Mexico is a major transit and production hub for the drugs entering the United States. Mexico is also a source, transit, and destination country for human trafficking victims. Victims are exploited for forced labor or sex trafficking. Many migrants traveling through Mexico are especially vulnerable. Illegal weapons are often smuggled into Mexico from the United States. These firearms fuel cartel violence and organized crimes. Cartels generate billions of dollars and must clean this money. Methods include shell companies, banks, real estate, and international financial transfers. Organized criminal groups target both locals and migrants for kidnapping and extortion. Extortion is common and affects businesses as well as civilians. Cybercrime is a growing issue within Mexico. The cybercrimes in Mexico include fraud, identity theft, and online scams often linked to international networks. Transnational crime in Syria. Transnational crimes in Syria have expanded significantly due to the years of conflict, weakened state control, and economic instability. These conditions have allowed criminal networks and armed groups to operate across borders with relative ease. Syria has become a major hub for the production and export of captagon, an amphetamine-like drug. Trafficking routes move drugs into the Gulf states, Europe, and beyond. The trade is considered one of the largest sources of illicit revenue for the region. Armed trafficking is an ongoing conflict that has created a large black market for weapons. Arms are smuggled into and out of Syria, often flowing into nearby countries like Iraq and Lebanon. These weapons fuel regional instability. Many Syrians displaced by war become targets for trafficking network. Smugglers move people across borders towards Europe, often undergo dangerous conditions. Victims may face forced labor or sexual exploitation. Armed groups like ISIS have used transnational crimes to fund operations. Activities like extortion, kidnapping, oil smuggling, and trafficking help fuel terrorism financing. Control of oil fields during a conflict allowed groups to extract and sell oil illegally. Oil is transported across borders through black markets, generating significant profits. Syria's rich historical sites have been looted. Artifacts from ancient areas are sold on international markets. The result is permanent cultural loss. Illicit profits are moved through the regional and global financial systems. Informal systems and cross-border networks make trafficking difficult. How are transnational crimes handled? Transnational crimes are not handled by one country alone. That approach simply doesn't work when networks operate across borders. Instead, they are managed by international cooperation, shared intelligence, and coordinated law enforcement efforts. Countries work together through organizations like Interpol, which help police agencies share information about suspects, arrests, and criminal networks. Red Notice alerts countries of wanted individuals. Joint investigations track criminals moving between countries. Countries sign treaties allowing them to send suspects back to the country where the crime was committed. For example, someone can be extradited to the United States for trial if there's an agreement in place. Global agreements set rules for fighting transnational crime. One major example is the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime. It focuses on crime like trafficking and organized criminal groups. It encourages countries to criminalize these acts and cooperate. Countries often create multi-agency task forces. These can include police, customs, immigration, and intelligence agencies. For example, the United States agencies like the FBI and DEA work with foreign governments on drug trafficking cases. Increasing screenings at airports, ports, and borders. The use of technology like scanners, biometrics, and database are used to detect illegal goods and people. Governments track suspicious financial activity to stop illegal profits. Organizations like the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, set global standards. Banks are required to report unusual transactions. Specialized teams investigate crimes across borders. Countries share digital evidence and work together to shut down networks. Countries or groups involved in crime may face economic sanctions. International pressure can limit their ability to operate globally. Programs to protect victims on human trafficking, efforts to reduce demand, which include drug prevention and anti-exploitation laws, are in place. What can we do? Individuals cannot directly shut down transnational crime networks, but they do play an important role in preventing, reporting, and reducing demand for illegal activities. Most global crimes depend on everyday choices, awareness, and community actions. Here are practical ways people can help. Report suspicious activity. People can help law enforcement by reporting signs of crimes like trafficking or smuggling. In the United States, tips can be reported to agencies such as the FBI or local police. Hotlines exist for human trafficking and cybercrime reporting. Avoid supporting illegal markets. Many transnational crimes are driven by demand. Individuals can reduce demand by avoiding counterfeit goods, not purchasing illegal drugs, and being cautious with unknown online sellers or suspicious cheap products. Stay informed and educate others. Awareness helps prevent exploitation. Learning about issues like human trafficking, cybercrime, and fraud help people recognize warning signs. Sharing accurate information in schools and communities increase prevention. Protect personal information online. Cybercrime is one of the most fastest growing transnational crimes. Individuals can reduce risk by using strong passwords and two-phase authentication. Avoid phishing emails and scams, keeping software update, and by being careful about the personal information that they share. Support ethical businesses. Buying from legitimate companies reduces profits from criminal networks. Ethical supply chains help prevent forced labor and exploitation in global trade. Volunteer support organizations. Many nonprofit work against transnational crime, especially human trafficking. Examples include anti-trafficking advocacy groups, refugee support organizations, and cybersecurity awareness programs. Encourage reasonable policies. Citizens can influence governments by voting for leaders who support crime prevention policies, supporting international cooperation efforts, and advocating for stronger protection for victims. Be aware of travel and migrational risks. Avoid using illegal smuggling service and follow legal immigration pathways to reduce exploitation risks. Transnational crime is a global system, but it depends on local actions, consumer behavior, and public awareness. When individuals reduce demand, report crimes, and stay informed, they are weakening the criminal networks that rely on everyday participation. Thank you for listening to my podcast on transnational crime. I appreciate you taking the time to listen more about how these global issues impact countries, communities, and individuals around the world. I hope this episode helps you understand the different types of transnational crimes and why international cooperation is so important in addressing them. Your support and interest means a lot. Thank you.